Hello, everyone. This is Marita, one who catches lightning, with the Path of Ish podcast, Walking with Our Shadow, where we share ancient Indigenous teachings of remembrance, all so we can walk and learn how to walk a path of radical self-love. Hello, everyone. It's good to be back here to have a new discussion, and thankful for opportunities when we get to re-listen, reimagine, replay, rethink topics such as Amazing Grace, Circle, or other topics that need more than just one listen to. As we sit today, I am taking pause as I'm listening to everything that wants to come in. So before we do that, let us take time to welcome the directions. And so, as we do, why do we do this? We welcome the directions because we are acknowledging these ways of beingness. The directions aren't just points in a map, but they have their own beingness. They have that which we create with them, and that they have in their own natural right. So as we create with the directions, we reset and acknowledge the planet that we're living on, the spaces that we're living on. And by doing so, we are acknowledging sacred ground. Since in this podcast, we neither have a temple, a church, or a building to walk into, or a kiva, we take time, since we cannot physically demark the space as sacred, we take time to acknowledge it by acknowledging the directions. And so let us approach the East, and approach the East from whatever you have been taught the East to be, as an element, as a guardian, as a sign. Remember, there is no one way here. We're acknowledging all people, all ways. And then we go down to the South. I'd acknowledge the South and the direction of the South and the element and the guardians and all that the South holds meaning for us. And then we move to the West, and we acknowledge the West and the direction that it is, and the element and the guardians of your people. And as we acknowledge that, we acknowledge relationship. And as we do, then we turn and orient ourselves up to the North, acknowledging the relationships, the guardians, the elements of the North. And as we walk around this circle, we approach the East again and ask it to be a door that opens for us to enter. And as you imagine yourself situating yourself into this circle of directions, pause before you fully enter and acknowledge what you are bringing in, and acknowledge what you want to not bring into the circle today. We always speak about leaving our wisdom at the door, but sometimes our wisdom, we don't think of it as wisdom, but it's responsibilities, it's justifications, it's job descriptions. all of these things that define us and create the space or definition that we hang on to. When I speak of wisdom, I am speaking of also learned behaviors, habits, thoughts, belief, and the system that continues to feed them. Maybe today you can be a little bit more present with them and then start to make conscious decisions. Depending where you are on your journey of reclamation, remembrance, and decolonization, you will be and have what you need at that step of your journey home to you. So therefore, leave the judgment of yourself and others outside of the circle. And so let us enter and let us take our 3 breaths as we enter in and out through the nose. And let's bring our mind into this time, into this place, into this step as we step into the circle. In and out through the nose, bringing our bodies into this time, into this place, into this step, into the circle. In and out of the nose, bringing our essence into this time, into this place, into this step, into the circle. And as we step in, we acknowledge that we are in a place of learning, of receiving, of staying curious and courageous and playful. As we bring today's topic and conversation, today's topic is around, once again, redefining words and phrases. There is a word that if you are in my circles or follow me on Instagram or Facebook, or even on my email list, you hear me speak a lot about you are the medicine. If you are a student of mine, you hear it more and more and more about how this journey of life of radical self-love, which is radical self-acceptance, is you becoming your medicine. Now, I acknowledge that that phrase or terminology is particular to an Indigenous way of being and speaking and relationship, because if you speak medicine to Western people, they think of something that they need to take, something outside of them that tells them that they are missing something inside of them. So immediately there is a disconnect between culture and definition. I speak of the discovery of the medicine that you are and becoming your medicine, which takes remembering and acknowledging. And then the other one is an isolation of substances that you take in to be part. And the important part of why we are taking time to lay this difference is that many people are coming into Indigenous medicine circles where they are actually serving medicine. And what I'd like to call it, they are serving relationship, to the point that Western people think that this medicine should be available to everyone. And they don't understand that you can't take the relationship out of all of it. They want to take the compounds and isolate things in plants and in animals and create isolated experiences in pills for people to get this medicine. And you are missing the point. You are colonizing the plant people and the animal kingdom whenever you start going down this line. And you are disrespectful about a way of being that includes deep, intimate relationship. And the reason you are disrespectful is because you have no example of this in your society. People come to me to talk and ask me about the Mayan calendar, since I do little sharings here and there. And it's so funny. Every time I try to get away from teaching the Mayan calendar, more people want the knowledge. And I find it really fascinating because this knowledge of the Mayan calendar, when the conquistadores came and saw a society that was much more developed than theirs, in a language they could not even comprehend, what did they do? They burned it, they killed it, and they raped it. When you do not understand the intricacies of wisdom and relationship, you will try to conquer it in your own way. One of the ways, if you do not burn it, kill it, or rape it, you fetishize it. Or you think that modernity and technology have a better way. And this path that society is on right now, with the abuse of plant medicina, not recognizing their medicina inside, is a path that could lead us potentially to the point where the plant people will no longer work for us. We have seen this happen. When humans try to re-engineer corn or wheat, now we have allergies. That is an human engineering of the plant people that then humans get allergies to, because you have taken the medicine out of the sovereignty and the beingness of the plant people and the relationship that they have to their environment and to how they grow. Asha Frost, in her book, You Are the Medicine, 13 Moons of Indigenous Wisdom, Ancestral Connection, and Animal Spirit Guidance, speaks of this a little bit. And I'm going to read this book. It's part of her introduction. She says, conventionally, medicine is something you take as a substance, perhaps in a pill form or cream or tincture. It's the treatment or the prevention of disease. In my ways of knowing, medicine is the vital, healing energy that connects the spirit, mind, and emotional bodies. It's something carried by all living things. It is our connection, our roots, and our life force. When we return to the medicine within ourselves and all our relationships, we come home. That, and I'm adding that to that, then we find peace, acceptance, grace, and love. Medicine is something we all carry, birthed from our ancestors and held by our spirit. I'm going to read something else. I wasn't going to. But because there continues to be so much static and constant interpretation through lenses that people don't know that they have, I'm going to read it because it's brilliant. And this is a letter in the introduction. Please get this book. It's beautiful. I'm truly enjoying it. And this is the letter in the introduction, and it's very important. because it's talking about what is happening and it addresses it. Here goes the letter. Dear white woman, and I'm just going to say white person, who wants to be like me. I get it. You see the moccasins and the beaded earrings, the cheekbones and the drum, the smudge bowl and the feathers. It all looks so exotic. Something that you want to be a part of, something you want to consume. And you think that maybe if you borrow a few of these things, you too can connect to Earth more deeply, to ancestral wisdom, to the spirit world. I've heard it time and time again. I wish I was you. I would love to be Native. You are so lucky. I was Native in a past life. I really want a status card and I think I have Native blood. Can you tell me how to get one? Again and again, I've heard these things from you, and my heart pains, and my throat closes, and my tears get swallowed. Do you know what you're saying? Do you really know what you're asking for? I love my heritage. I am proud of who I am. Even when I wear my beaded earrings and people whisper behind my back asking, who does she think she is? Even when I'm discriminated against when I enter the hospital, I love who I am. I am proud. Ojibwe woman. And it has taken me 42 years to get here. So, dear white person, I want to ask you this. I know that you would take on the dream catchers and the powwows. I know that you would take on the headdresses and the sage. I know that you would take on the wisdom and the beauty. But do you want the rest of it? Truly? Would you like to experience people asking to collaborate with you so they can receive grants intended for Indigenous creators for their work? Would you like to be seen and treated as less when you have pneumonia and are in desperate need of hospital care? Asked by medical professionals how much alcohol you've had to drink when all you need is medicine? Would you like to have big dreams and wonder every single day whether you will be able to rise in this current system? Would you like to feel physically ill every time you read the comment section and see the horrible view society has about your people? Would you like to shake violently afterward and wonder if you and your children are safe in this world? Would you take on a painful chronic illness and later wonder if part of the reason you have it is due to the oppression and pain your people have experienced? Would you take all of this on too? I look around at a world that has reduced me to a costume, a world that has romanticized me into a character, a world that takes the teachings of my people and uses them without acknowledgement or an invitation for us to join them on their stage. This is the world we live in. And so, dear white person who wants to be like me, are you willing to take on all of it or just the pretty parts? Are you willing to take on the trauma or just the wisdom? Are you willing to deal with the intergenerational trauma of the residential schools and the alcohol and the suicide and the violence and the genocide? Are you willing to carry all of that in your cells, your blood, your tissue? Ready to do the work every single day to heal this so you can make sure your children don't carry as you have? Dear white person who wants to be like me, do you? Or can you be like you and reconnect to your own sacred medicines, your own beautiful ancestry, your own power, presence, and brilliance? I see you wanting to. I see you aspiring to. I see you reconnecting. Can you be like you? as I reclaim and remember me. And then we can finally walk in a right relationship to each other. This letter is from Healing Rainbow Woman. I read this because it is part of the misunderstanding that continues to happen. And while you might not be destroying our pyramids or walking us on trails of tears or giving us blankets with smallpox, children are still being taken away from their parents, Indigenous people, Indigenous children, and put into foster care, maybe not so much residential schools. And Indigenous women continue to disappear at a higher exponential rate than others. Yet you come into our circles wanting our medicine and thinking you can take our relationships and isolate them in pharmacies. You take our medicine, our relationship with ourself and our environment and the stories that have been created in our own work to build relationship and continue to live in a good way, in a reciprocal way, not in a sustainable way, in a time when the earth needs more because you keep taking from her and not giving back. How can you return to your medicine if you are not willing to do the work of remembering, the work of dealing with intergenerational trauma of your people being wiped away? Colonization and the conquering of one people over another has been in existence. It is part, it seems, of the human condition. And it exists today. This is not to shame people, but we have to be honest about what we bring into these circles, the stories that we're carrying, because if we do not, then we cannot work to heal them. The response I get from people all the time is, but Marina, I'm a good person. And you are so intent on telling me that you're a good person and justifying your behavior that you don't listen to my voice, nor are you allowing your trauma and the journey of reconnecting to the medicine to be possible for you, because you bring into the circle the justification of who you are, the need to be seen as a good person, as a generous person. But if you look at how society has built up these words and who defined them to you, so many times when I see people being quote unquote generous, they are living in martyrdom. And you cannot give what you do not have. And they come to these circles depleted, but they won't look at their what they call generosity or love or giving. They won't see the poison in how they think they're spreading medicine, so the medicine becomes a poison. Another thing that happens is this on this journey to heal, which is individual. Again, people think individual means isolation. I can do this alone. We are social creatures. We are meant to be in community, to heal in community. There's a practice of witnessing in Indigenous circles that we carry on today in the circles that I lead that is as important as the plática that I give. To witness someone in their journey, not trying to add to it or fix them or anything like that. Just witness them as they work their medicine their way is so powerful. Yet the practice of witnessing does not exist in the greater, quote unquote, normal, good, balanced society. The only time I've seen it is in AA meetings, where you just tell your story and who you are, and there's no back talk. But there is this judgment about those meetings. Only those people go to those meetings. Only people with problems go to those meetings. People with vices go to those meetings. So therefore, this practice of witnessing, which is allowing a society, a community to grow, is hidden in basements, in rooms, in churches, whatever. It's hidden away from what we call being successful in modern society. Therefore, the medicine is not practiced in a greater way. To be the medicine, you must be. You must acknowledge your complete self. I have people come to me all the time and they're asking me, like, well, what meditation should I do? Or what's the tool that I need? And many times I just ask them, I said, do you have a practice of knowing yourself? And they ask me, what are you even talking about? And I said, yes, you have a practice where you take time to start your day or throughout your day, know yourself, know how you're feeling physically, mentally, emotionally, checking in with your body, if what it really needs and wants. Have you eaten enough? Have you had enough water? Are you hydrated? You have a practice of checking in with your mind and seeing how it's bouncing around and not trying to control it and just saying, wow, okay, that's going on. A practice of checking in with your essence to see where your essence is and are they even working on the same project together? And people say, no, well, I do check-ins. I try to do affirmations, or I do check-ins to see if I've messed up throughout the day, or if I've been a good person, or if I have to apologize to anyone. I say, yeah, but do you know how you function? And they ask me, what are you talking about? I go, do you actually know the energy that it takes for you to be you? I'm not asking how many steps you need to lose the weight that you need, or your heart rate, or anything like that. Very basic. What are the things throughout the day that support you being you? And are you allowing for that? And you only can find what the support you need if you know how you operate physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, mind, body, essence. Instead of trying to save the planet by making ayahuasca a pill for everyone, and don't even get me started on that. I mean, I've talked a little bit about this, but I could go on. Instead of saving the world, why don't you work on yourself? And just because it worked for you doesn't mean it's going to work with everyone. Because the people who want to isolate the plant medicine are the people who have sat in the jungle. And my friends, it wasn't just the medicine, it was the people and the relationships and the stewardship and the reciprocity of those people living in relationship to the land that allowed that plant to heal you, to give you perspective. And the problem is when you do not have that relationship and you call yourself a facilitator and you have not taken time to study deeply and create relationship with the plant kingdom and the animal kingdom, then what are you actually giving people? Healing does not happen in isolated states. When you go even to a Western doctor, what are you counting on? You're counting on their relationship with their knowledge and with seeing patients with your same condition. You are counting on relationship. Studied in books as well as studied in real life. If we expect the people that we get medicine from to study 10, 5, 15 years, and then we trust them, why are we trusting people who have no relationship or have a relationship of a weekend or a week or a month? I don't get it. You will only be able to experience the depth of healing of that relationship. And if you are not in a reciprocal relationship with Mother Earth as a practitioner, if you call yourself a practitioner facilitator, you are not walking in a good way. You are out of balance because part of the medicina of you being you and you sharing this wisdom, whether you've been trained and allowed to, or you just decided to do it yourself, if you are not in a reciprocal relationship, giving back to the people who taught you and giving back to the land, you are not completing the cycle of healing. You are just another consumer. If you do not even know how you work, then how can you be medicine for others? Handing out cups and pills and washes, and you don't even know how you work. There is a disconnect there. So, the invitation of this circle is to pause what you are doing now. Pause. Hit the pause button. And I'm not saying this out of judgment. I'm saying if you are not doing the internal work, if you are not taking steps to reconnect to your people, your ways, your medicine, then what are you facilitating? There is not one correct way to connect. There's not one guru out there. There's not one truth. There are many, many ways. Find something that you are passionate about, that you are excited about, and do that work for yourself first. Know how you operate as a body, as a mind, and as an essence. Become the medicine. Your medicine is your expression and connection to spirit, to nature, to yourself, and how you live your life. That is the medicine, and that is enough. Once you learn that you are enough, then you can take steps in forming different relationships to share. But if you are not doing the work concurrently of always getting back to you as a being and how you relate to yourself and how you function, and you're in deep relationship with Mother Earth in a reciprocal way with her and the beings that live upon her, then you are living isolated moments of medicine taken out of its environment, and its environment is part of the cure. You have to be your own environment. Work on that first. Become the medicine. This does not mean that you cannot not study with Indigenous people. Of course, come, we're welcoming you to our circles. But be honest about the path that is in front of you. So many people want this knowledge, but do not want to face truly what the path to themselves is about. They just want another form to consume distraction. So let us take our 3 breaths. And in these 3 breaths, I really want you to check in. This is a practice that we teach at the Path of Each. This is a practice that we will start to teach in Australia, hopefully soon, or you can come in and work with us, really to get very focused on why these 3 breaths are important and how just taking time to do these 3 breaths with intention, with mercy, grace, and compassion. They're so revolutionary because they're acknowledging that we have created a society of isolation of other people, other beings, and of ourselves in how we speak to ourselves and compartmentalize. So these 3 breaths are that way to breathe a bridge between our isolated parts, so we can actually start to walk that path of medicine that begins with us. And so let us take our 3 breaths. This first breath in and out through the nose. And connect with your mind. Observe your mind. Is it distracted? Is it bouncing around? Neither is right or wrong. We're not trying to conquer it. We are observing it. In and out through the nose. We are observing our body. How is our body right now? How are we feeling in our body right now? Have we tensed up? Right? Mind-body connection is real. Our neurons are multifaceted. That's why we receive information and sometimes have body reactions of fear. And then our mind starts racing, or vice versa. And just observe. I'm not asking you to change it. I'm actually asking you to just observe with detachment. without the need to fix. In and out through the nose. And observe your essence. And if you want a more defined essence, please go back to 3 breath episode and observe that spirit part of you. Is it with you? Has it gone away? What's it thinking, doing, seeing? All of it. And once you have that information, you can see and start to learn about yourself. Start to see if you're even present with yourself. Start to see if your mind, your body, and your essence speak the same language. Maybe they don't. And so the work begins there. The work of being the medicine is the courageous work of stepping on a path where healing isn't about something that is wrong about you, but where you are fascinated. You have fallen in love with the notion of being completely you. You are enough. And whether you have that spark at the beginning or you find it through the process of finding yourself, may you have the courage to know that any step is good enough, as long as you are doing so in a reciprocal way with yourself, with other people, and with Mother Nature. I hope that today this circle gives you the courage to walk your medicine path. So with gratitude and thanks to all the relationships who have been here, gratitude and thanks to Asha Frost and their amazing book, You Are the Medicine. For our ancestors, for the directions, for the elements, for all that we are in relation to, whether we are conscious of it or not. We thank the East, the South, the West, the North, the guardians of above, on this plane and below. For my ancestors and for my teachers, and gratitude and thanksgiving to their encouragement to always be me. We thank Circle for holding us, and we thank you and your people. And as we close this circle, we know that we can always come back and sit in it again and listen in it again. And every time we take those 3 breaths, we can check in. We can begin our path of healing, remembrance, recognition, and sovereignty. And if we can start with that, then we won't isolate the plant people or the animal kingdom and try to make them something that they are not. Be the environment first for yourself by becoming and having deep relationship with the earth around you. If you do not know where to begin, keep listening to these podcasts. Check out the circles at the Path of Ish, or check out other ones. May you today find the grace, mercy, and compassion to be you. May you be your medicine, Shade. Once again, it is with deepest gratitude that I bow to you for joining me on this podcast, this episode, this circle, this plática, this meditation, this remembering. I hope that you have stayed curious. I hope to see you in the circle again next week. So make sure that you like or follow. Until then, may you be blessed with abundance of peace and radical self-love.